At the break of dawn over the Rocky Mountains, the sky shimmered with a strange iridescent glow that no human eye had seen before, reflecting off snow-capped peaks and dense pine forests alike, as if the horizon itself were awakening with intention. Birds hovered unnaturally, their wings frozen mid-flap, and the wind carried a hum that vibrated through the bones of anyone who listened carefully. Evelyn Hart, a field geologist, noticed her instruments reacting violently to subtle energy waves she could feel more than hear. The mountains themselves seemed to pulse with hidden life. Streams rippled upward slightly, defying gravity in whispers of impossible movement. Hikers froze in disbelief, capturing the phenomenon on their cameras, while shadows stretched oddly across the terrain. Something beyond natural law had arrived quietly, and the world had yet to understand that this morning was no ordinary sunrise. Seismic sensors registered tremors unlike any earthquake. Waves of energy moved through solid stone, vibrating in precise, unnatural frequencies that scientists could only describe as intentional communication. Evelyn, following the data, discovered geometric patterns appearing along cliff faces, luminous glyphs etched as if the mountain itself was speaking. Helicopters sent for observation experienced complete system failures, lights flickering and navigation collapsing in real time. The forest echoed faint harmonics, each note corresponding to something ancient and deliberate. Evelyn felt her heartbeat synchronize with the vibrations, an unspoken connection to the energy beneath the Earth's crust. Every leaf on the trees trembled simultaneously, a chorus of organic responses. The wildlife froze in a tense stillness, sensing the awakening as deeply as any human could comprehend. Something alive beneath the ground had become aware of those walking above. Evelyn traced the signals to a massive canyon where the rock opened silently, forming a perfect circular aperture that revealed a cavern glowing with bioluminescent veins like living circuitry. The air hummed, thick with the scent of ozone and mineral richness, and the cavern walls pulsed as if breathing. Shadows shifted unnaturally, forming figures that moved fluidly but did not disturb the ground. Evelyn felt time bend slightly, her watch slowing unnaturally while seconds stretched and snapped back. A soft voice, neither male nor female, resonated in her mind, repeating a phrase she understood instinctively: "You are chosen to witness." She stepped closer to the edge, her boots vibrating with the subtle hum of energy, feeling simultaneously fear and a profound sense of awe. The world outside seemed small, distant, and irrelevant in comparison to the cavern's living presence. Streams of light wove through the darkness, forming patterns that suggested intelligence beyond human comprehension. From the depths of the hollow, figures materialized as if emerging from the very fabric of space and time, humanoid in shape but composed entirely of shifting light and shadow, their forms elegant, fluid, and impossibly precise. They made no sound yet conveyed awareness of Evelyn's presence instantly. The air grew heavy with expectation, vibrating slightly with each subtle motion of the beings. The walls of the cavern reflected their shapes endlessly, amplifying their presence. One figure extended what could be described as a limb, not toward her but in acknowledgement of her observation. She realized these entities were not hostile. They existed in a plane between perception and reality. The cavern itself seemed to bend and warp subtly around them, revealing their connection to the very geology and energy of the Earth. Evelyn's instruments went haywire, reading frequencies and energies that were not supposed to exist in nature, proving without doubt that this was an intelligence of a scale and understanding far beyond human comprehension. The beings, called the Still Ones, projected visions of Earth's past and potential futures directly into Evelyn's mind, showing civilizations rising and falling, natural disasters and recoveries, and the delicate balance between growth and destruction. Oceans shifted violently, while forests regrew in seconds, illustrating the planet's resilience. Evelyn understood the communication was not through words but through shared consciousness, emotions, and empathy. They conveyed a warning. Humanity's survival depended not on domination but awareness, on listening to the living world around them. She felt the weight of responsibility settle across her shoulders, understanding that the fate of millions was tied to choices yet to be made. Lightning-like pulses of energy shot through the cavern, synchronizing with the visions in her mind, reinforcing the gravity of the message. The air quivered with subtle light pulses, and even the rocks seemed to hum in acknowledgement of the transmission. The still ones guided Evelyn deeper into the cavern, where a vast crystalline structure pulsed with rhythmic energy, resembling the heartbeat of the planet itself. Each pulse reverberated through her bones, conveying the planet's awareness of human activity above. She saw forests shrinking, oceans warming, and glaciers retreating, all recorded in shimmering light patterns that told stories louder than words ever could. The beings projected the fragility of balance, showing humanity's unchecked ambitions and potential for harmony simultaneously. The energy of the cavern intertwined with her consciousness, making her feel Earth's age, pain, and resilience. She understood that the planet was alive and that these entities were its conscious guardians. The message was unmistakable. The survival of life depended on recognition, respect, and understanding. Evelyn's mind raced to find ways to communicate this vision beyond the cavern. Evelyn felt a wave of energy travel through the cavern floor, vibrating in perfect resonance with the crystalline heart, connecting her mind to the still one's perception of the planet. Every molecule in the rock, water, and air around her seemed to hum, forming a tangible symphony of awareness. She could hear, feel, and see simultaneous past, present, and potential futures, each layered like transparent holograms around her. A sudden rush of wind stirred her hair, although the cavern remained enclosed, revealing the power of energy manipulation rather than natural elements. Evelyn's instruments, left on the cavern ledge, began displaying incomprehensible readings, waves and symbols defying physics. The experience was overwhelming, yet clarity emerged from chaos, showing her humanity's narrow path of survival versus destruction. The still one's gaze, though silent, carried infinite patience and silent judgment. She realized that time, space, and consciousness were now intertwined in this encounter. A sudden ripple in the crystalline heart pulsed outward, flashing brief, vivid visions of catastrophes that could occur if humanity continued ignoring the planet. Volcanoes erupting simultaneously, hurricanes forming over calm seas, and deserts expanding rapidly, all accelerated in visions that burned with radiant colors. Evelyn felt each disaster emotionally, experiencing loss, fear, and desperation as if it were happening around her. The still ones projected a single phrase in unspoken thought: survival required awareness. She understood this was not a threat, but a profound lesson, a chance to choose differently. Her heart pounded, recognizing that she now carried a responsibility that could affect millions. Yet she also felt hope, as the planet's resilience was clearly displayed alongside the warnings. Every pulse from the crystalline heart reinforced this critical moment. The still ones extended an invisible pathway in the air, illuminated with soft lines of light, guiding Evelyn through the cavern's depths. She followed cautiously, each step aligning with subtle vibrations in the stone, as if the planet itself was leading her. Glowing symbols floated alongside the path, depicting methods of harmony, techniques to balance human energy with natural cycles. Her mind absorbed the knowledge almost instantaneously, processing sustainability, respect for ecosystems, and the subtle interconnections of life. Small animals, previously frozen outside the cavern, now appeared as translucent spectral guides, showing that even living creatures were part of this delicate system. Evelyn realized that she was walking not just through a physical space, but through a map of the planet's consciousness. Each step was a lesson, each turn a revelation of the responsibility humanity carried. Emerging from the cavern, Evelyn stepped into the morning light, which now shimmered with iridescent colors reflecting the still one's influence. The forest, nearby river, and mountains all appeared subtly altered, healthier, and more vibrant, showing immediate regenerative responses. Birds moved normally again, but their flight carried an almost hypnotic elegance, as if synchronized with the energy that had flowed through the planet. The sunlight refracted unusually, creating luminous patterns across the terrain that hinted at hidden power. Evelyn could feel the awareness of the still ones everywhere, sensing that their presence had not left but was observing silently. Every leaf, stone, and ripple in the water resonated with gentle energy, reinforcing her understanding that Earth had communicated and acted. People arriving at the site for morning hikes paused, sensing something beyond ordinary perception, though unable to explain why. Evelyn used portable devices to project images of the cavern and the lessons into nearby research stations, showing staff the visions of harmony and Earth's conscious responses. Everyone observing felt an immediate sense of responsibility, as if the knowledge had bypassed language and entered intuition directly. Maps of energy flows, water cycles, and regenerative methods appeared as holograms floating above desks. The planetary awareness translated into actionable insights for ecological restoration. Scientists began collaborating in unprecedented ways, inspired by the direct experience of connection to the planet. This shared knowledge spread, carried in data, conversation, and visualization tools, building a network of awareness that transcended political or geographic boundaries. Evelyn realized the Still One's gift had ignited a global awakening without interference, simply by allowing humans to see and understand. Weeks later, faint silhouettes of the Still Ones appeared across distant mountains, their forms subtle but unmistakable, blending light and shadow. Observers in various regions reported strange phenomena: rivers altering course slightly, forests glowing faintly at night, and wildlife responding to unseen energy pulses. Evelyn traveled to these locations, confirming that the presence of the beings was global, yet they remained invisible to the casual observer. Communication was always mental, conveying encouragement and affirmation of human choices aligning with balance. The world had begun changing slowly but perceptibly. Cities noticed slight atmospheric clarities, crops flourished unexpectedly, and ecosystems began stabilizing in a way that defied conventional explanation. Humanity's connection to Earth deepened as if an unseen teacher had finally revealed the most crucial lessons. As months passed, Evelyn witnessed dramatic regeneration of damaged ecosystems across the globe. Forests regrew in patterns that seemed purposeful, rivers cleared and teemed with fish, and deserts bloomed unexpectedly. The energy pulses from the Still Ones subtly orchestrated these changes, guiding nature without force. Humanity began noticing, studying, and integrating these patterns into urban planning, agriculture, and conservation efforts. The planet seemed to breathe again, and people instinctively made choices aligned with this new rhythm. Evelyn felt the immense responsibility of being the first messenger, but also immense hope. Every sunrise was now tinged with glowing vibrance, signaling a profound shift in the balance between humans and the planet. News outlets, scientists, and communities reported unexplainable but positive ecological phenomena, sparking global interest and collaboration. People began realigning priorities towards sustainable energy, conservation, and planetary respect. Even skeptics experienced an undeniable sense of awe and humility when visiting affected areas. Evelyn traveled internationally to observe synchronized natural changes and continued mental communication with the Still Ones. The harmony between humans and nature became a shared experience, subtly guiding civilizations toward empathy and responsibility. Technology and ecology merged to create sustainable infrastructures that respected the planet's intrinsic intelligence. Every region began reflecting unique adaptations while contributing to a global resonance of balance. One night, Evelyn received a subtle mental pulse from the Still Ones, signaling that humanity's decisions over the past months were being assessed. The pulse was gentle, a rhythm echoing the planet's heartbeat, indicating ongoing observation but no interference. She saw images of past civilizations, their failures, and the lessons learned. Humanity's path was not perfect, but curiosity, cooperation, and conscious choices now prevailed over ignorance and greed. Evelyn realized that balance was a daily practice, not a one-time event. The Still Ones silently communicated that Earth had passed a critical turning point, but that vigilance must continue. This final test was a lesson in humility and awareness, not judgment or punishment. The Still Ones no longer needed to appear physically. Their influence now spread through subtle energy flows visible only to those attuned. Evelyn felt their presence in every wind gust, river ripple, and tree sway. Even human intuition seemed influenced positively, guiding decisions that maintained ecological balance. She documented this influence, creating subtle tools to help humans perceive planetary signals without fear or dependence. Communication became natural, embedded into daily life, teaching humans to notice, respect, and act in alignment with the living Earth. Evelyn understood that the Guardians had always acted as mirrors, reflecting humanity's choices and consequences. The world now had a quiet teacher, invisible yet pervasive, whose lessons were felt more than seen. Evelyn discovered through visions that Earth's awakening did not go unnoticed by cosmic neighbors. Other planets, some inhabited, some barren, observed humanity's conscious choices. Light signals and faint auroras appeared across skies, subtle but deliberate, acknowledging that awareness was valued across the cosmos. Evelyn understood that Earth's actions now resonated beyond its own system, and that the Still Ones served as emissaries not just for humans, but for the interplanetary community. This reinforced humanity's significance, showing that awareness, balance, and respect were recognized universally. The planet had grown not only in health but in cosmic relevance. Over the years, communities maintained harmony with natural systems, documenting energy flows, migration patterns, and ecological rhythms. Evelyn trained others to sense planetary signals intuitively, passing knowledge quietly. Schools, research stations, and observatories integrated this awareness into education, blending science with planetary consciousness. Children learned to recognize energy rhythms in forests, oceans, and air, fostering a generation that valued connection over exploitation. Stories of the Still Ones became cultural symbols of respect and cooperation rather than fear. Humanity had become a careful steward, aware of the responsibility of existence within a conscious ecosystem. Time passed, and humanity grew into its role as guardian without fanfare. Cities integrated forests and wildlife corridors. Rivers and oceans were restored, and energy flowed in balance. People paused, observed, and acted consciously. Evelyn, older now, observed from a mountain ridge as the sun reflected off forests and oceans in radiant colors. The Still Ones remained, silent but present, knowing that the lessons had taken root. Humanity's collective awareness was no longer fragile. It had become a quiet, ongoing practice. Earth thrived not because of intervention, but because awareness and choice now governed action. As night fell, Evelyn stood beneath the stars, now moving naturally, yet shimmering faintly with energy from distant guardians. The planet breathed, humanity learned, and cosmic observers noted the awakening. Time itself felt richer, layered with the history of choices and the promise of awareness. Evelyn smiled, knowing that the legacy of connection would continue quietly in forests, rivers, cities, and hearts. The Still Ones recorded not to control, but to witness. Humanity had begun its journey at the edge of eternity, aware, respectful, and alive in harmony with the planet that had spoken so clearly. The story continued, silently, eternally, and beautifully.